You ready? 3, 2, 1. We're back.
Boom.
What's up, boys? Yes. Luch gives good high five.
There you go.
Luch gives good high five.
That felt good.
We are back.
Not really good.
It's bad words. Special episode, September 10th, 2024. It's been how long, Adrian?
9 months.
It's been
9 months. December was our last podcast.
We had Steve Miller on 7 months ago.
7 months.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Well, that was Steve Miller. So I don't know if we had one.
Was the lounge painted? Lounge painted.
The
All right.
lounge was painted. There's a bar back there, but it's not
We were not, not quite
No.
done.
Uh-uh.
Oh, we're back. All right. Well, since it's been long enough, let's go ahead and give our sound off. Who we are, what we do, and then I guess we turn it over for
Yeah.
a life story in 90 seconds.
There we go.
Let's start it.
Yeah.
Take us off.
Adrian from Cigars and Guns. What's up?
Pops from ICC.
Brandon also from ICC, and tonight we have a special guest, Luciano. What up, Luch?
What up, man?
Welcome
I'm here,
back.
bro. You know, I gotta disrupt things here. No, 9 months. Come on, you guys wait for so long.
You
dude.
are disruptive. Yeah, that's a good point. We're gonna
Come
talk
on.
about why we've waited this long. And will you just do us a quick favor and give us the impossible task of giving your life story in 90 seconds? You can't even give us your last 4
I
months.
cannot do that. You know me, bro.
I know
I cannot
that.
do that in 90 seconds.
90 seconds, go.
Oh my God. I'm a
That's 10 seconds.
I'm a cigar maker, and I got to this point because I'm searching tirelessly for being a better person, I guess, and tobacco has to do with it. And I'm here, bro. I'm here. I have a wonderful family. They are part of who I am. I have wonderful friends, and that's the main reason I'm here. And I'm looking forward to continue to live my life in more than 90 seconds. And yeah, I think that's what I can give you 90 seconds, I guess.
I'm bored. Tobacco, better person, great family, and living your life for longer than 90 seconds.
Amen.
All right. I'm for it. That's a good answer.
Sounds good to me.
I'll take that. Or just, yeah, and forgive us because we're probably going to have to dust our shoulders off
A little rusty.
Get this off.
Yeah.
What have you been doing, Adrian?
Living the farm life, just hanging out with dogs and cows and the nature. That's it.
Do you have your own cows now?
There's cows there.
I'm not sure where they came from. They just wander around when there's no fences. They'll go wherever they want to go.
Someone takes care of them, feeds them, and does all the cow stuff that needs to be done, and we just get to enjoy them.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a dog that looks like a cow, so.
You have a horse dog cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a cow that actually matches Bo. Same color. And it's weird because Kathleen actually got a good picture of them doing this. Yeah, the cow came down.
For those of you just listening, he's saying touching tips.
Yes.
The cow
Never
and the
knows
dog.
this, but yeah.
That's I got you.
That sounds terrible. That sounds terrible.
Oh, yeah, it sounds terrible.
I'm trying to find the show, but I can't find it. So
What are you doing?
I don't know. I was going to turn it on and
On what?
TV. What channels are we on?
Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, and YouTube.
Okay.
We're going to all of them tonight.
All the socials.
Let's see if we can just get canceled out. I mean, tonight is
Again.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Tonight is the debate, so we will probably have record-breaking, shattering low numbers tonight. But it
Yes.
doesn't matter because this conversation's for us anyways.
That's right.
That's right.
We're just putting up the camera to. I mean, truly, all we're doing is putting up the camera because Luciano's in the building. We said, well, shit. If Luch is here, we need to share this
We
conversation.
need, yeah, exactly. We need to
It's
expose.
better because we can have more intimacy. So we don't care about, people are watching or not.
That's right. We don't care
If
about
you've
it.
watched any of our shows in the past, you know we really don't care about what the audience thinks because it is not compelling or rich.
There you go.
But we're gonna push.
Yeah.
All right. Do we stay topical? Do we stay light, or do we hop into it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like
All that.
Yeah.
I know I'll save a little bit of alien talk because I know Adrian's kind of getting converted one day at a time.
I send you one link and I'm converted now.
Yeah.
You're moving to a
He
one.
is. And I was thinking today as I was watching those those burners come down and land by themselves that Elon created.
Right.
And I thought, his brother aliens must be so proud. They're just, he's like, they're probably up there going,
Not
that dude's
bad.
getting
Yeah,
it done
not bad,
down
yeah.
there. Yeah. So there's aliens are wealthy too.
Huh.
Because Elon's pretty wealthy.
Very.
And clearly an alien.
Yeah.
Was that a political thing?
No, he inserted himself into politics. But, a couple weeks ago, that would have just been funny.
But I'm already up to. Can we just
Yeah.
take a snapshot of where you guys are at in your current lives? I mean, we're catching Luch somewhere in the middle of a very long journey of traveling this side of the planet, another side of the planet here soon. But just snapshot. I want to get a little pulse check. What's right in your life? What is it?
Yeah. So with just cigars and guns right now, we're going through a rebrand. Kathleen hired some people to take a look at the company as a whole, seeing where we're going to go forward wise, and see exactly what our concentration is going to be. Redoing the logo, potentially redoing the website. So I'll ask your feedback on that. And yeah, that's where we're at. Excited about that. So maybe early next year we'll see where that takes us.
Are you still selling guns and doing all that
Yeah,
stuff?
still selling guns. Picked up a couple YouTubers that made me their FFL. So yeah, one of them being Baptiste. So he's opening up a range in his side of town, and yeah, he wants a whole slew of guns that he could use for his French people to come over and shoot guns.
Okay.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right. So
Yeah.
are you
Fantastic.
1 to 10? Where are you at in life? How content with your day to day are you?
11.
Whoa.
Yeah, up there. I mean, there's some family stuff going on. There's always something going on, obviously, within if you're with families and stuff. But yeah, just here with Kathleen, and we're empty nesters once again, and just enjoying life and having a good time. Yeah.
Luch, where you at?
I'm here at Industrial Cigars. No, it's been a journey, man. I think it's an interesting question. I remember like when I was in my previous life, working in the financial industry and living in different places, and I remember flying from one place to the other, and then it took me sometimes. It would take me like about 10 minutes sometimes to figure out where I was landing. So fortunately, I don't live that life anymore. But it's been kind of intense. I had a kind of some challenge to catch up with a lot of things. So I haven't been in my house a lot lately. So I've been traveling quite a bit. It was twice to Portugal, and then Brazil, Nicaragua, back here doing events, and then flying straight to Germany, and nonstop. Been a crazy 3 months so far.
How do you keep up?
I could answer like the kind of cool answer, right? Like, never, do what you love and never work one day.
Bullshit. Yeah.
Bullshit. But actually, I think the way I keep up is truly never losing sight of the reason why I'm doing it. And it's very easy for us to do that. I think when you get caught into this autopilot, like I have to do this, I have to do that, fulfill an agenda. And so I try to always understand. I was with Sean today visiting stores and stuff, and I would stop with him and say, what we going here? So what's the reason why we're talking to this store? So what it means to you? So what's the meaning? What I'm about to, who I'm about to talk to? Do you know any background story? Do you know about his family? And it's not because we want to have an approach of pitching sales the right way, that too a little bit, but it's more because I have to find a meaning, a purpose that's more than just cigars or selling cigars. There has to be something, otherwise I can't have any drive on me. It's just I can't.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no meaning, I'm out. It has to have some sort of something that's bigger than just the cigar itself. As much as I love tobacco and I love cigars,
Mm-hmm.
it has to have a little more than that.
Yeah. Purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pops, where you at?
I think that everybody wants everything to go good all the time. And I think the realization is, when you're not right and your family's not right, everybody's dealing with their own struggles. It just kind of feels like you're driving on one space saver and the other tire's flat. It just doesn't feel right. And our family's kind of in that phase right now. I think I'm having some delayed grieving, losing my mom in February, but we went immediately to Europe, came home immediately for this business to get going. Nathan's getting married. You go through all this stuff, and then Brandon screws it all up by letting his kids play soccer. And then you got all that stress and that terrible thing that just happened. And then
I'm with you.
So yeah, now that everything, I describe it as kind of the boat starts out coming out of the water, and then it kind of planes out. As it started to plane out, things kind of felt pretty empty, and it was just the realization that now that I've had a chance to breathe, now 6-7 months later, it's time to grieve.
Yeah.
And so it's that process that I'm going through. I think the kids are going through it. My wife's going through it in a major way. So everybody's got their, one space saver on, and we're getting down the road and trying to do it with a smile on our face.
Yeah.
But it is a challenging time. But as a family, we met yesterday as a family, and we're going to get through it. It's going to be good.
Yeah, we're gonna get through it for sure.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm struggling.
You're a soccer coach, problem number one.
Well,
You're actually coaching. I didn't know that.
yeah, I'm not gonna let somebody else coach my son in soccer and tell him that it's a good sport. I'm not a fucking idiot. So I'm coaching him because it is a good time for me to coach my son and parent my son in a different way, because I can pull my son in those times instead of being like a parent, go run.
Yeah.
I can pull him in, like, at this moment of performance, you are not doing what I need you to do.
Yeah.
Stop tapping your feet, get in there and go. Right. So, and I think I am the man I am today because
Because I yelled at you for 6 years playing youth football.
I won't say this because there might be a woman, there might be women watching this of what you told me when I was 12 years old.
Right there.
Kathleen's there, so I won't tell you, but you come and ask me what he said to me when I was 12 years old.
Stop being a pussy.
Yeah.
Way worse. Way worse. I tell that to my son now.
But I called timeout so that I could make sure that the whole team heard. I didn't want to just pick on one person on the sideline. I called timeout and went out to the center.
That's not joking. He did this. We were playing the 49. Let's move forward, shall we? But it is important. Yeah, I think right now I'm struggling. I'm struggling to know that other people around me are, and it seems like every facet of my world, I'm a very blessed man, but it feels like every root that I try to grab, I'm not going to grab them because I know they're hurting. And it almost, you kind of pull back and everything around you. It's like, I know Bob, everyone in our family, and Nathan, even in his life, new wife, great fit, honeymoon, all of those things. Even on paper, that's supposed to be perfect. He struggles too, and to have that, our ICC team has very serious things that are happening outside of this wall. And when you're surrounded by that, it comes to your point, which is, okay, stop for a second, communicate, love on each other, understand where everyone is at, realize we're still on earth, so we're still doing okay. And now let's start to heal together. So we did that as a family last night. And I found myself singing in the car this morning. I got good work in the gym this morning, and I just felt better. And that was just like one small step. So I'm hurting, but I know it's temporary. Right. And I think that is the biggest thing is the market always goes down. The market always comes back. Life always comes down. Life always comes back. You just got to put in the work. And that's where my very long rant on this is. I see our Pops and I have lived an identical life, and now we have this delayed grieving. And that's something that I want to push over to you, Luch, is you've had your own challenges that you've gone through and are currently working through, but you're staying busy enough to process them, to not have to process those. Do you fear that at some point you're going to have to process those, or are you finding times in order to do that? And if so, how do you do that? While the plane's flying.
I think there's no perfect answer to that. I think you asked me in your previous question, how I manage time and how I manage all the stuff that's going on. And my answer, I think, also touches how you face challenges and loss and grieving, which is the purpose why you do what you do, why you exist, has to be, and it is bigger than just your contempt, just yourself, just your momentaneous happiness, or just your pain you're going through. So the most interesting aspect of, in my opinion, of humanity is our capacity to wake up in the morning and everything is new again. And there is an opportunity for you to change. There is an opportunity for you to move forward. And no matter how much in the bottom you are, there's always something that can change absolutely everything. And when you have solid foundations like you have, which is a father that loves you, siblings that loves you, your wife that loves you, your kids, a purpose to live, man, the foundation is there. The meaning, the purpose, everything is in there. No matter what kind of pain you have to go through, you have all that. It's like you're a wealthy person. How many people don't have relationships, don't have, and I was talking in the other podcast about this. So people are, a lot of people think like, I have to kind of pretend to be something, or I have to fulfill an agenda and kind of just keep going. And if I'm not doing right, if I'm not performing, therefore I'm failing on that aspect. Actually, it's about the purpose. It's about the why that I read in that booklet.
Yeah, it is. That is the beauty of the foundation, the people you surround yourself with. And I think what's cool is I watch Adrian and Kathleen, I should say Kathleen and Adrian, walk in the door, and they made a pretty significant jump to move to this area where you found balance. Well, you talk about finding that balance, right? It sounds like you answered an 11 out of 10. Right? How much is your balance your key to success? Or is there something else that is different for you?
I think it's, and I've said this many times before on this podcast, is you surround yourself with people you trust and you admire and you look up to, and you weed out the people that don't fit that mold, and you'll live a happy life with that. So long as you have that respect, that foundation, that forward-looking mentality, and really that's it. It sounds simple, but it is that simple.
Can I say something about this? This is something that I must say that I've learned recently. Because I always thought that like people can change, and then therefore you have to believe in. So when you said surrounding yourself with people that you trust, that resonates with me right now more than ever.
Yep.
So and it's not that I'm giving up. It's like I have to face the fact that not everybody really wish you well.
Oh no.
So you have to kind of surround yourself with people that really love you, and that's really there for you.
Yep.
It's something I'm learning the hard way, to be honest. That's one of the things that I believe I need to improve. Like it's just, man. I mean, I go all in. And I believe in the best.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And I think that I think people hold on to friendships, or they hold on to relationships, and they don't cut bait fast enough. The older I've gotten, the easier it was to cut bait. But and I know that there are some that were just people that weren't probably the right people.
Yeah.
But you hang on, waiting for the better song to come on. And I think that, but if you get a group of people that you genuinely trust. There's only one thing that hurts worse than losing a friend, is losing a friend that you trust and find out that they're not trustworthy.
Oh yeah.
And that is painful, because not only do you lose a friend that you trusted, you also call yourself into account. Why did I trust that guy? You know, I thought everything was right. But trust is a big part of
I can see that.
how you align. And if you look at our universe of people that are involved with, that come into ICC and people that we deal with out of ICC, think how many of those people is there any of them you'd look at now and go, I don't trust that guy?
Well, I don't know, because
I can't think of any.
I mean,
I can't think of any right now.
that we wouldn't trust.
Maybe there's people I know that I wouldn't trust, but not something I would call. They're in my circle. They're in my.
Oh yeah, like the Adrians or Ties or those guys. No, but that's a small circle, right? We've built an onion, right? I think that's what we've learned over the last 7 years, especially in business. Like, build an onion, right? And Luch, you're a guy that is. There aren't layers. It's just all of you all the time.
He's the blooming onion.
Straight to the sauce, right in the middle, right?
I want extra sauce.
14,000 calories of blooming onion, and
That's funny. When I was studying, that was my meal, bro. I will go to the Outback and get the onion, and I'll eat that shit. And it was cheap, you know. Like, just buy the onion, don't buy anything else. It fills you up. That was perfect,
That's it.
man.
Yeah.
For college times.
You didn't know there was a deeper meaning to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that became
Very
you.
deep,
You are
yeah.
what you eat,
I
right?
am.
But you really are that, just full out. And I could notice that and that made me, when I saw you many times and you see all these people that you just completely dump into. And I saw that, brother. It's like, Jesus Christ, how many brothers does this guy have? But
I have an explanation.
you can pour all the way in. I think, of course, you set yourself up in the naivete may go, yeah, well, I'm just going to keep dumping and dumping and dumping. The pessimist says, I'm not doing that anymore. But I could see that as a point where your circle is so big of people you trust completely, blindly, that, as in the wise words of Billy Bob Thornton, it's kind of like loving a German chick. She doesn't always love you back, so sometimes you're just not going to get that back, and they're going to stab you.
I think my explanation to that is not just because I trust. I think there's something that is more kind of subliminal. I look into like what we built like as a company and the culture that we have. And to be quite honest, and maybe I'm being actually extremely vulnerable right now, but what I notice is I do not see my girls taking over. Like, there's no like family legacy to be left. My legacy is different, Maybe I don't want to bite my tongue. Maybe Rachel, she's a super taster. Maybe one day she'll get more involved, but I don't see that happen. And I think there's this kind of almost like in a subliminal way, I'm always trying to find someone that I can mentor, or I can be, that can bring with me, and that I can, like some people did with me in the past. So I feel like my brain always kind of gravitates towards trying to find that person or those people that I can actually pass on something. Because I love to teach. I love to kind of share, knowledge. It's part of who I am, right? And I feel like that can be a blind side. So my filter becomes a little less filtering. I'm just kind of opening the door because I want to find someone, and that led me to some mistakes. But at the same time, it led me to amazing relationships. So again, it's. I think the key is to never lose the hope and the utopia. So it's about the meaning again. It's like there's something that's bigger than just, then even I can say this is bigger than me being happy. there's so many people connected and that depend on what we do. And if we start thinking that way, like, man, you know, those bumps are just this part of the journey, and we grow with them. And I'm actually, like I said, man, I'm my wife is actually very much like you. Like she, like, come on, why are you hanging out with us? So okay, why are you giving the second chances to relationships?
Yeah.
Just kind of, you know,
break it.
Just get rid of. Now I understand a little more about that, and I can say that with almost 49 years old, I'm still improving, you know, a lot of things, and this is one of them. I'm more like cut and dry now when it comes to relationships. Believe me.
It's a good feeling when you finally realize that. It's like, yeah, I don't have to hang out with this person, and you start.
It's okay, right?
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, it really is.
Was there a moment that it hit for you, Adrian?
I've been thinking about.
Have you
that.
always been that, or
No, I haven't. Because even there's family members, cousins that I grew up with that I thought were my best friends, and then as we grew up, it's like, no, this is not the. I thought you were a good friend, but you're totally opposite of what, you know, what I think in life and what you think in life, and it doesn't match. And it was good when you were, you know, 15, 16, whatever, growing up. But now as adults and living in life, it's like, no, it's okay to cut ties with them. They're still family. You know, you're cordial with them, but you don't hang out with them.
Let's see holidays.
If that.
Yeah, you're right. But there is power in learning no.
Yeah.
Right? Because I mean, let's just be kind of open here. It's like, there was a moment that we had a conversation that I had to tell you no on something.
Sure.
When everything in my mind was like, yes, yes, yes. But I had to go, I want that, but it's not right now.
And now seeing the whole picture of what industrial is today and what you guys achieved, I'm glad you said no. Because now I can, you know, I can see what that choice was for you. And I can completely see it.
Well, and from a relationship standpoint, and really from that standpoint, it's that no may not be a no forever.
Sure.
Right? That relationship, that person could change. We all change. Circumstances could change.
Amen to that.
And right, and here we go. It could be a yes. I don't know. Are there times where you've got somebody that you've had to cut out that you've let back in, or have you seen it where
Probably my brother. I kind of was zero tolerance on drugs, and I drug him to rehab one time, and I was pretty much done with him. But we've rekindled that, and we're very cordial. But yeah, normally if somebody gets that far down the road, I just cut bait. I'm not interested. But what he's proven over the last 10 years is that he's not going to fall back into that trap. I think it's a pretty easy trap to slide into. But yeah, I mean, in the end, look, no is much harder to say than yes. Yes, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's so easy. And it's what people want to hear. And you want people to like what they want to hear. You want them to like you. And, you know, and that becomes a juggling act here at ICC. Sometimes we have to tell people, no, you can't be here anymore. It doesn't happen often, but man, it's amazing the positive weight that comes out of that. You know, people appreciate that, you know, and take notice. So, but yeah, I mean, I think for your own sanity, sometimes you just cut the cord.
Yeah. I mean, it comes down to purpose, right? We're talking about purpose again, and I know Stanko follows a bit of stoicism, but the real main concept in stoicism is persist and resist, right? Persist through the difficult, resist the temptation of the thing that feels that looks right or sounds right, or you may think it's right, or something you want, but you know it's not it's not it right now. And I think perhaps I'll get to kind of a set of questions here, but many people are really struggling in a way they've never struggled before in this world. And the question I have is this a net effect? Mentally, they're struggling. Relationships are struggling. Financially, they're struggling. And I'm curious, as we're, the debate is kicking off here, how much of our data diet and how much of our daily diet of information and relationships and of this, that persist and resist, really easy to just go, yeah, I want this now. I want this content now. I want this food now. I want everything now. This on-demand lifestyle that we have now, how much of that compounds into the challenges that we are facing as a country, as a people, as a something? I don't know if that's some sort of novel idea, but what do you guys think in terms, or how do you guys see the world right now? And how much do you think it has to do with this on-demand society of getting whatever you want, when you want, where you want?
If you don't mind, I think that what's strange is the majority of the U.S. population believes that they're being fed bullshit in media. Whichever side of the fence you're on, I don't care. There's going to be bullshit on either side, but nobody's really doing anything to stop it. And until it hits somebody in their pocketbook, it's not going to. People stop going to Disney because they don't like the CEO's position, then that will impact things. But I think that, to me, it's like everybody's living in this, everything kind of seems okay, but we also have an enormous amount of credit card debt now, but maybe we're not believing, and it's almost kind of like if you go back to old times when guys were standing in a castle, guarding the castle, and somebody says that the other troops are coming. You're nervous. You're ready.
Yeah.
But what if it was bullshit? So everybody that's there is living in this nervous state, waiting for everything to happen, and they never arrive. And I think that there's a lot of people right now that are sitting here going, I'm nervous. I just don't know if it's going to arrive. I don't know what's going to happen. I think there's more of that. And I think people have just tried to live through it, but we're sitting with, national credit card debts of $1.2 trillion. They just kept on spending. They just weren't spending the money that they had. They've spent that. Now they're spending their savings and putting it on a card. And I think that they're just trying to pretend that it's okay. But personally, I just don't think that it is. There's just too many other technical, financial elements that you have to take serious.
I think this is not new though. I think this is something that you can find like 5, 6, 7 centuries ago happening as well. I think like controlling people by fear, or actually humans being fearful of their future. It's something that happens in many generations, right? Mm-hmm. What I see today, and you heard me saying this many times actually, is that we live an era of skepticism. I don't think we ever lived in the era of skepticism that we are today. Like you're right. You just said, we don't believe in politics anymore. Like we don't believe in religious leaders. We don't believe in any sort of leadership whatsoever. And it takes some time for whoever walks into the door for you to trust as well. As much as you can provide a safe environment here, you don't know people are coming here, right? Mm-hmm. So it takes sometimes, we're talking about this today, huh? It takes sometimes like someone to come to you and say, okay, I know that person for 5 years or 10 years, so you can trust him. And then you trust him. Mm-hmm. So, but my theory is that the rebound of that is that people are craving reality. They're craving truth. They're craving honesty. They're craving real experiences. Mm-hmm. So like, even like in the cigar industry, in any industry, but the cigar industry, like people are tired of the sales pitch of, just buy the cigar because I'm aging for 20 years, because I have this, I have that. So nobody believes that. People wants to know the reality, the truth behind everything, and that comes to experiences, that comes to cigar lounges, guns they buy, anything, mm-hmm. Whoever can present reality, truth will succeed. And society will always be fearful of something. We all fear the future, no matter what. So we all feel like if I can control, if I can't see, therefore it's not safe, right? It's so much easier for us to get comfortable with the past. I gave an example today to a conversation I had about how Have you noticed when we go to a awesome restaurant and we order a dish that we love, a spaghetti? You went to an Italian restaurant in Rome and you love that spaghetti, and someone comes to you and say, do you know any place in Rome? Oh, I know a place. Go to that place and have that spaghetti and never forget that spaghetti. So that person feels extremely comfortable to go there and experience that dish, and then they will replicate. They should tell someone else. Tell someone else. But actually, what is almost like a paradox or contradictory is that we are actually designed, and you and I talked about this many times, to build future. That's our calling. So we are human beings. Like every animal on planet has a purpose, right? Like honeybees make honey, the silkworm, even bacteria have a purpose to decompose, and viruses have a purpose, which is crazy. And I just learned about that shit lately. Like a virus has a purpose to exist, which is insane. So what is the purpose of humanity, man? What we're here for? To procreate. What is our calling? One of the smartest guy I've ever met, Corey McManus, he's the one who came up with this theory, and he says, well, humans are actually designed to build future. And he calls that concept the phantom pain of our souls. It's like, when kind of, soldiers go to war and then they come back, they don't have the limb, but still feel the pain in the limb. It's like we were born to be eternal. So the purpose of again, we get into faith a little bit now, but if you believe in God, and if you believe there is a life after death, if you believe there's an energy reconnected, whatever religion you have, you understand that pain, because actually the future is painful. Because we are not living eternity yet. So we're not living into the future. The future is completely unknown, and we are afraid of the future. And that's how we get controlled by as well. That's why when it comes to politics, all you have to do in a political race is instill fear.
Yeah.
And then
look at it. Trump's going to be a dictator, and Kamala is going to be an authoritarian.
And look where we live right now. Everybody's afraid of consuming. So the economy is going down because of this fucking election.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. People are afraid.
Yeah, and a lot of it, when you have a crisis, the world's greatest crisis ever, which was global warming, right? And this climate crisis. They created a crisis. They expect everybody to believe it, but they never proved it. No one's asked for the scientific proof. So the scientists that did prove it, they said they're nuts. So there's still somebody that's trying to control this message to make sure that there's always a fear factor.
Yeah.
Always keep fear.
Yeah, I mean that just back it up to 2020. Right? Everything was there, but as soon as you had the fear of killing grandma, everyone became really okay with doing whatever they push you to do. Right. So the question is, and this is a good transition for us to walk into this, because maybe a lot of this anxiety and fear that everyone is feeling, and maybe this is the challenges we all go through, right? Is the fear of the future. How do we overcome it? Right. I mean, Jim Morrison has a great quote on it, but I think there's, you expose yourself to your greatest fear, and after that, fear has no power, right? But let's take a less artistic.
Somebody said that the truth will set you free. If everybody just told the truth, we would probably live in a free society.
That's true. And also that the strength, the biggest strengths that we have in our lives, they come from actual weaknesses. It's when we review the weakness, and now it's not a monster anymore. And then you can see that there's so many sources that you can change that kind of mindset into a more powerful mindset. Like, I'm afraid of speaking public. Okay, so face it. So you're not good at it. Search resources. And then I see a lot of people that are completely bad in public speaking, and they turn into these great speakers. When you face your reality, when you face your challenges, you you took the first step, right? So you are towards actually getting better.
That's such a great point. You think about the movies like Saving Private Ryan. You think of some of these classic movies where you have that 18-year-old kid that just gets off the chopper in Nam, right? And he's scared shitless. He doesn't know. He hasn't seen it. And then you see these muddy, bloody guys coming back from being out in the bush or in the field, and they're just walking, and there's bullets flying over. And they just don't care. It's like they took on their fear, and those that have been there, they're just walking back. Like, it's just, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the guys that haven't been there yet. That unknown scares the hell out of them. Saying like you're saying, public speaking. If you haven't done it, you're scared to death. But then third time you walk off the stage, like, hey man, have a good show. See ya. It's just it's such a different. But you just got to do it. That's the key. If you don't do it, you'll never.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about stepping into the future that's extremely powerful. And when we do it, we feel extremely rewarded. Someone went to the Italian restaurant for the first time. Someone ordered that dish for the first time without knowing what to expect. Someone took that first step. And
I'll take it one step further.
I'll tell you, that person, it's probably had a better experience than anybody else that went there because someone told him to go.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, somebody looked at a lobster and said, let's eat that bitch. Somebody said that looks like it would be good if I ate
burn some leaves and smoke them.
Yeah, let's roll this stuff up.
Roll this shit.
We put a shiny label on it.
No.
That's good.
Now, I see a bit of a different approach, Adrian, as we're all speaking future, because you use this term, be a futurist, be the first guy to eat the spaghetti, be the first guy to fuck with the lobster. It feels maybe, Adrian, that you don't worry about that because you've done your work in the past and you live today. And it feels maybe you have peace today that helps you set up tomorrow. Am I characterizing that incorrect?
That's a good way to put it. I never thought of it that way. But that's an interesting take. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that necessarily. Pops and I are probably around the same generation where it's like, things are way different than they were back then. Right. And it's like, we didn't have the internet to feed us the huge amount of information that we have today. And at one point, 4 years ago, we stopped watching, at least I stopped watching, news. And I went to YouTube and I started following these content creators, and I thought, this is my thing. And then I learned, years now later, since I'm in that realm, right? And it's like, these guys are just spewing what they want to. They're no different.
Echo chamber.
Right. Exactly. And it's like, no, the guys that I used to follow on YouTube or whatnot, or whatever channel, and it's like, I resonate what they're saying, but if someone of not the mindset that I have is following them and they're taking in that and taking it as gospel, and it's like, you might as well just watch the news because it's almost the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it really is. And so I've gravitated away from that and just started to maybe just follow and listen to other channels that are not on either side. It's just right in the middle.
That's Dave Smith he's a libertarian. I don't know if you guys know Dave Smith, but on the politics side, this is who I follow because he calls bullshit on this side. He calls bullshit on that side. He's got his purpose. He's got his rhythm. You know what he believes in. He's from a party that will, not in my lifetime, they're not going to be a presidential candidate. That is very real. But he calls it as it is. And there are things when he hits and I disagree with it, I'm like, I don't know about that. But at least it challenges you one way or another, right? We just find these communities of people, like-minded individuals that are just doing the shit that we want to hear anyways. Makes us feel good to be around people who say the same words. Exactly what's happening here, right? Because there's comfort and there's trust.
We gravitate to people that call bullshit on people's bullshit.
I call bullshit on it.
We gravitate to that, right? I mean, I'll listen to somebody like Joe Rogan because he's just going to say it like it is. You're not an advertiser's not going to force him to change his position.
Right.
And there are guys out there that'll be like, "Oh, that upset you? I'll make sure that I don't go down that path."
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's unfortunate.
That's a good example because even he will say that when someone who doesn't know Joe Rogan, they think of him as a right wing, Republican, and he's for guns, even though he's a hunter and things like that. But he's not Republican; he's Democrat, and he'll tell you that. And to your point, he'll call bullshit out on either side, and so he's not on either side, but he's like, he straddles that line.
He says what he thinks.
Yeah.
But going to this point of past versus future, it's just something I was very attracted to. So it might sound crazy. Maybe whoever is watching, might find like, why are you talking about this? But if you think of the concept of eternity is not about past and future. It's like one state when you're not tied to time anymore, right? So it's not about the infinite, it's about eternity. It's like you reconnect to some sort of energy, and there's absolutely no past, there's no future. It is what it is. The past, it's part of eternity. So it's extremely important because it's the entire experiences we have in life. The future is unknown. So that's why the future causes a lot of pain, because we can't see it. The past we already experienced, and the present we're living now. So living without fear is probably one of the most difficult challenges for any human being. When I say living without fear, it's not being stupid and jumping from a building. I'm talking about actually having faith in who you are, and that requires you to look into the past. And just what we just talked about. So what do you have? You have a family. You have people that love you. You have all these things that you built and that God provided. And then now, why do you have to fear the future? So that kind of sets you free, and you don't have to fear the future anymore. And that's kind of how I see what Jesus was trying to say in the parables when he was explaining to the disciples about not worrying about the day of tomorrow. So don't worry about the day of tomorrow. I'll provide everything. It's not that he was going to give them everything. It's like, if you have awareness of what I've given you so far, so why are you afraid of tomorrow? So I think, unfortunately, and I know I'm kind of leaning towards like faith and stuff, but it's just kind of logical. If you always are fearful of everything, you're never going to do anything. So and you need experiences, you need the past, you need wise people to kind of counsel you. You need good people that will not fuck you up, to come to you because they really care about you, to do something for you and help you, during difficult times and so forth. So I think that there's no separation. I think if I think of eternity, it makes more sense to me, like as one thing.
Well, that makes perfect sense because I think I've spoken about this before, but man created time, right? Because what is a minute? What is an hour? What is a day? Well, that's based on Earth around the sun, right? The moon, but it's all our solar system is time.
It's night and day.
But take that, just take it out, right? We just so happen to spin at the same rate, so we can set a clock to it. But that doesn't mean it's time. So is the past not now?
Interesting perspective.
Right? Because the past, because it's spun around, you are who you are because of that. You are who you're going to be because of who you are now.
Yeah.
But just because we see the clock go like this, or we see the time spectrum this way, just fold it, make a circle. I don't know, do something with it. It's all the same thing, right? It's all, how many times have we had the same experience?
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to get my car, I'm going to drive home like I've done for 7 years, 365 days a year. It's the same drive. It's the same thing, right?
And identify the moments that transcend time.
Right.
So it's that special gathering you had yesterday with your family. There was a breakthrough for you. Like, we can all stick together and we can overcome this. So that conversation you're never gonna forget. It transcends time. Like the real relationships, the real love, like what you have for your children, you have for your wife, with your parents have towards you. So those type of things, they transcend time. It doesn't matter the time. And it's funny how those things are not connected with fear at all. Never.
No,
Isn't
it's
that crazy?
joy. It's all joy.
Yeah. Sometimes a bad experiences, but it's still not connected with fear, because you can go through this with the people you love. You can go through dark moments, and you can go through difficulties, and you're still like, okay, I'm going through these difficulties with people that I love, they're with me, and we're together.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they say if you live in the past, you will be depressed. If you live in the future, you live with anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
You just live for now.
Boy, that's so much easier said than done.
It is, because you have a
Good 401k.
computer that has a schedule and all this other stuff.
Yeah, living today is just the hardest thing to do, you know, especially when you're planning for something, when you're living for your legacy, when you're living for these things.
Yeah.
Planning and operating it definitely is a challenge.
And how much did technology contribute to screwing things up? Because, you know, when you start talking, when you look at these people that came to the United States and worked their way to Oregon, they just knew it was going to take a couple of seasons to get there. There was no hurry. All of a sudden, we get these things that advance and free up time, and then we fill that gap with just more bullshit. We don't just go, boy, this freed up 8 hours of my day. I'm going to go out and play golf, or I'm going to go do. We have a tendency to fill it up with the shit that we were trying to get rid of in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, you think about the craftsmanship and stuff. You go when we were over in Europe, you look at that craftsmanship. There wasn't a GC out there going, this shit's got to be done by Friday, or we're not going to get a CO. And it took as long as it took, you know?
Yeah, I think, but that goes to your point of you never really feel the pain of the past. You're not going to feel the pain of the past of Oregon Trail, but half of those people died from the simplest of things, right? How many kids died on that trail because there was no technology, right? So there's good and bad of everything, right? I'll take today's technology and issues versus, you know.
I think it's the same thing as saying like blaming the knife when the knife can actually cut a very nice slice of sushi or meat and can be a defense weapon, and also can use to kill people with no reason, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think technology is that knife. Like, you can use for good things, can use for bad things. Unfortunately, I think the issue is how people are educated to use it. You know, I think there's so much dysfunction today because of social media, right? Everybody pretending to be something, everybody trying to kind of show only the good things and living in their imaginary that those things are real when they're not. And there are a lot of mental issues that we have today and social anxiety that we have today.
Mm-hmm.
But internet is a great thing, man. Like, we're talking about communication, right? So, and anxiety and all that kind of stuff. Now, at least we can look into what's happening all over the world. So we can analyze macro trends in a way that we couldn't, 20, 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there's, again, it's us, bro. It's human beings. It's
tools and weapons. It's all tools and weapons. And you're the vector point.
We are the ones who are doing it. We are the ones creating, artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great, but at the same time, you can fuck up too. So,
we will. It's inevitable. But
my concern is somebody used a knife to kill and get food, and then to cut it up and to be able to eat it and survive. And then somebody figured out, hey, this is a pretty good tool to go stab somebody and kill them. And that's my concern with AI is I have a thought, but I can't figure out how to put it in. I type it into this and it spits it out, and I go, oh, that's better than I would have said it.
Mm-hmm.
But then somebody is going to be smart enough to go, I know how we can make this.
Yeah, but somebody, like I said earlier, someone's going to be smart enough to program that to cure cancer. It is not going to be one or the other. It is going to be both.
Okay, I'm gonna bring up something very polemic here, especially with this guy here. Let's talk about gun violence.
Okay.
So one day, someone invented a weapon because you need to defend your family. You need to defend sovereignty. You need to defend your property. You need to be able to actually fight for good.
Do you usually cut your cigars or not?
Sometimes I just bite them.
Yes. Keep going. You are rolling.
No, I see what you're.
They
What
even
is
make
just
the
good.
cut the top.
But you know what? According to some, you have to light the cigar before you cut. So you're not there.
Well, we spent time with him. We know where he's at.
Just
I was too focused
He's
on
also drinking beers with the cap on it. Don't
I was too busy.
But we're talking about guns. So
Yep.
now we want to blame the rights to own guns. I mean, we want to blame violence with the right of own guns. It's the same thing, like guns are necessary, are not just, sometimes you treat it as a cultural thing. It is a cultural thing, but it's actually more about really self-defense. So why do we have walls that we have to build around our houses, and why we have to lock the door? Because we're all humans, and people are going to burgle your house if you don't lock the door, and you're going to feel unsafe. So unfortunately, there are weapons. Everybody has access to weapons, so we got to have it. Period. I'm sorry, I don't want to make this political. We have a debate.
No. Let's go ahead and throw a caveat.
I believe
We're gonna just say what you believe.
Yeah. I believe in the right of owning guns and the freedom to do it, and not just the freedom to do it. I think we have to have that right to defend ourselves. That's the reality we live today. Criminals have guns, right? So we got to have guns too, unfortunately, and that's necessary. There's nothing we can escape from. Just like we have to lock our doors, we have to have walls, we have to protect ourselves. But there are people who are crazy, and we'll get those guns, and we'll do mass shooting, and we'll do stupid things, and we'll kill each other. That's the reality. Again, I don't want to get
I think it's safe enough. I think it's.
I saw that today there was a hearing on Capitol Hill with the victims of illegal immigrants, and it was the mothers that had their children killed, right? And then it's going the right and the left is all doing their 5 minutes, right? And they get over to the left, and one of the guys said, now keep in mind, they all explained in detail. I had tears in my eyes when I was listening to what was happening to 12-year-old little girls in Houston and some of this stuff. And I'm watching these parents dealing with that. And then one of the senators says, no, none of these people nothing happened to them at gunpoint. They were killed, they were strangled, they were beat to death. And the first thing he says is, this is the reason that we have to take away assault weapons. We need an assault weapon ban. These people murdered these little kids and with their bare hands.
Yeah.
And the first thing is it's assault weapons. It's just crazy. It's
But
crazy.
see, you said something that it also bothers me. As much as you guys know my belief and what I believe in terms of politics, at the same time, when I hear these things, it kind of breaks my heart, because I believe in sovereignty. My wife works actually, preventing human trafficking and illegal immigration, but at the same time, dude, 99% of these people that are crossing the border, crossing for their lives, and they are not criminals.
Right.
That's something that unfortunately that narrative is being built everywhere. We're talking about most of them are really hard workers.
Yeah.
You guys can see here in Texas because the majority of them are here, right? So a lot of hardworking people. Is there criminals? Yeah, there are, but there's way more.
But 1%.
Our guys are bad here, man. Our guys are bad here.
1% of 12 million is still a lot of people that are here for the wrong reasons.
No, I agree. They shouldn't
terrible.
be. That 1% shouldn't be here. That's no doubt. But that can generalize and create what we call an argumentative fallacy.
Yeah.
So we create an argument based.
Yeah, treat them all because they're all bad.
Yeah, like all immigrants gotta being wiped. All legal immigrants have to be wiped out of the country. But no, let's look in the situation. Let's create a pathway for these guys to be legal. Do they have a criminal record? Do we have a background check on these countries, or there's a reason why that we're investigating? We have the capacity to do it. We don't. So we gotta close. We gotta close the border. We cannot allow that to happen, because that's, again.
Yeah, I mean, I've been through
I'm
this
not speaking to
process.
the
Yeah.
buyers.
Yeah. So a couple things here is if we could create a company to where the immigrants that come over, to your point, that they're hard workers, we put them to work, right? Those that want to work will work. And then we can weed out the ones that are not wanting to work and come in over here for a bad situation.
Mhm.
It's not a gun problem. It's a people problem. And whenever you hear these shootings and whatnot, or regardless if it's mass or the appointed shooter that shot a Dallas cop recently, right? Just
Right.
point blank. It's a person problem.
Mhm.
Yep.
There, you can pass any laws, but they're going to affect us, the people who are law-abiding,
Yeah.
have guns for protection and or sport. And if I can't buy a particular gun because it was used in whatever thing, that's not right.
Mhm.
And I'm not, one of those, pro-gun, even though I am, but I'm not going to, be an advocate, for that. I want to do the right thing.
Regulation. We need regulation.
There's
As much as
some
we talk
type of
about
regulation, sure.
we need that. Some type of regulation, like don't put guns in the hands of crazy people. That's basically. I'm telling you.
But how do you
still carry in different states?
how do you do that? Like one of the most recent
That's-
ones in Georgia, he got the gun from the dad, which I think the dad
exactly.
gifted to the son
He
at
did.
14 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
It's like
stupidity.
is
There is a point if you were to take just the sweeping politician look, it's like, all right, well, take that away and the opportunity doesn't exist.
but to the layperson,
But-
they think, oh, that's the thing.
Right.
We need to
but,
ban this.
but we're losing the concept of what government is here. That's not our fucking parents.
Right.
Government's not here to be our mom and dad, right? If Elias cuts himself with the knife, I know Elias, so I'm going to take the knife away, right? But I'm not going to take away from the neighbor.
Yeah.
Because Elias cut himself with a knife.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's the easy way to say take it out, but then you don't realize that here in Texas we have more guns than we have people, right? So
Yep.
what are your plans there now? And you're gonna go to these law-abiding citizens that believe in the Second Amendment. You're gonna knock on it, and they're gonna go, "Okay, here are my guns."
In
It's
comparison,
not gonna work.
how many
It's not
times
It's not achievable.
how many times on the weekend do we
Unnecessary.
see a drunk driver kill a family, right? And then they don't take cars away, and then we learn that, oh, this is his fifth DUI,
Right.
and it's like, come on, what's happening here? What is it? What do we do?
Yeah. It shouldn't get to 5.
No,
That's
shouldn't get to 1.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a cult. It's definitely a culture thing,
these,
right?
when you hear about a lot of these, every one of these people that were murdered, this was their second and third time in
Right.
the country after being thrown out, and then they get back in. That's how many attempts do you get?
But look, I've gone through the immigration process with Ale.
Yeah, Nate's going through it now.
Nate's going through it now.
Mm-hmm.
That is an intense process, right?
Because she's doing it the right way,
She's doing
the
it right
legal
away.
way.
And expensive.
It is
Very expensive.
It's thousands and thousands of dollars. They lock you down. We almost missed our own wedding,
Yeah.
because she got her permission to leave the country like 3 or 4 days before, right? Thousands of dollars, many months. Now, you could say what you want about that process, but they fully vetted, right?
Mhm.
But when we get to the point of not vetting, I think we at least open ourselves up to risk, right?
Yeah.
So allocate a shitload of resources to people who go, I'm here, I want to better. And I think there is another thing as well, right? It almost comes down to purpose and vision. I think the American way of life has a vision and purpose and ethos that is transcendent globally. There is something beautiful, and I know Ale has this. When the national anthem is on and we're watching the Husker game or whatever, and it's on TV, but the kids get up. If they have a hat on, they take it off. We watch it. We're American. And there's something beautiful about that. To watch a Mexican listen to Chris Stapleton's national anthem and get teary-eyed about that just makes me want to cry,
And
Yeah.
do you know why?
But the buy-in.
Because sometimes we overlook something, which is the choice and the life-changing aspect of someone who decides to leave their country and come and live here because they believe in the values, and they believe not just lifestyle and freedom and stuff, which is important, but they believe that values in general. So they want to be here because so that's the type of immigrant that any country wants.
Right.
Because it's not because they accidentally were born here, because
Right.
they chose to be here.
Yeah. Risk their life to be here.
And sometimes risk their lives, but sometimes they just made a decision. I can say this about myself. So I made that decision, and I brought my kids. Some of my kids were born here, but some of them were born in Brazil, and they came here. They have to adapt to a new culture, and we decided to raise our kids here because we believed that here it's the place that we want to spend the rest of our lives.
Mhm.
So that decision, it's not easy for any immigrant. I'm speaking from experience. Like just you leaving sometimes family behind.
Mhm.
Like grands and cousins, and
Yeah, that's what I was talking about yesterday.
That's exactly what she
and
talked
you
about yesterday.
inaugurate a new generation. I know my kids will probably start their own generation here of Americans. So I think a lot of people take that for granted. So there's the, again, as everything. There's the bad side of walls and borders, and there's the very important side of borders and walls, and the freedom that people have to make choices. It's extremely important. But again, we have to create a pathway for that. We don't have a pathway. Unfortunately, the least of the evils is we have to protect the border. We cannot allow anybody to come because we can control it.
You
The
lock the
government
doors on
have
your
to
house. Why
control
would you
it.
lock the doors on the
The,
country?
the system is broken. We have family in El Paso, so when we go visit, we fly in and we see these immigrants with a bag, and I know it's from the government because they all have the same bag. In that bag, I learned was a cell phone, probably like a debit card or phone card and all this other stuff. Yet we have a mutual friend that is from France, and his partner got deported because her visa ran out, and so she can't come back. Yet these other people can stay, and they're getting government
So it
assistance.
disincentivizes the
Mhm.
legal.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, when you have immigrants, that's the one thing that the internet does allow them to do is communicate back to kind of like, hey, the water's warm, come on in. When they were talking the other day about getting in Chicago, $5,000 in 2 years of free rent. 2 years. Of free
I don't know what to believe anymore. And
Yeah, that's the thing. Is that
yeah,
the
Yeah, we don't
skeptical?
know.
Yeah, skepticism. Who
It's
really
hard to
knows?
believe.
yeah.
Yeah,
And if it's happening, that's ridiculous. If we're
If these
we're
guys are
paying
talking
for
about
that.
spending
But it-
30-40 billion dollars.
Yeah.
And they're dealing with 100,000 people that Abbott put on a bus and sent there. They're not dealing with the other 7 million or 8 million that maybe came in through El Paso and some
Yeah.
of those areas.
Yeah.
You'll pass all of that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is just a wild time. We're just inundated with this data and information,
Yeah.
right? Most of us don't have any connection with this,
Yeah.
right? Most of us don't see. I mean,
Not in Frisco.
no, and
Yeah.
you're right. Not in
Yeah.
Frisco. Some of us do have a very real connection, right? The farmers and the ranchers down in South Texas, they have they have a very real connection finding dead bodies in their ranch houses
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But of the 330 million Americans, not many of us see this day-to-day standpoint, right?
Yeah.
No.
So that to me is another thing that we're having to worry about, right? That doesn't really truly affect our lives, aside from the taxes we pay and stuff that we agree to or we don't agree to. But take that on top of a couple of wars that we're funding,
Mhm.
fill in the blank of the things, and it just gets us all riled up. We're just consistently riled up.
But I would be perfectly content if Ali and the kids all stayed at the house and had the gun close. I watched this and I'm just thinking, when this poor gal, she was pregnant at 14, she's now 26 or 24, and her 12-year-old, she went to bed one night, daughter was in bed, got up the next day, daughter's gone.
Mhm.
And She pings the phone. She goes to where the phone was, and there was crime tape, the tape off area. And she's like, my daughter's phone is here. And I'm like, we don't know who this is.
Yeah.
And, 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's not stuff that we're built to handle,
Yeah.
No.
right? The atrocities of the humankind, especially.
Dehumanization.
It is.
So we become less humans. But that's not who we're supposed to be.
No, who we're supposed to be is pretty easy road, right? Be a good person, do your stuff, set up your legacy, and show the next generation.
Contribute to society and be a good friend.
Pretty simple,
It's that easy.
It
right?
is.
But we all
I think
have
so.
good families.
Yeah.
Right?
Good families, good friends, and this right here.
That's ours.
That would be kind of a cool thing. Politicians all welcome. Must have cigar to pass.
Yep.
Listen,
Yeah.
man, that's another point too, like point of privilege, because how many people in this very kind of poor countries like Nicaragua all the time. So I took our CEO over there last week, so he came to see it, and he was like, "Man, there's a lot of poverty here." I said, "Yeah, there is." So he was reminded of the reality. Some people don't have that family. Some people don't have. If I tell the stories of things that we see in Jalapa, you guys heard some of them. It's sad because it doesn't change. That's what's sad. Again, it's fighting for something that we know we don't have the power to change, but we have to still keep fighting. It's what's called utopia, right? So we have to still fight for justice and for doing the right thing, believing in society. And it's hard, man, because there's so many ugly things out there, but we still have to keep our hopes up.
I agree.
For a better day.
Yeah.
So here's an interesting point. Like when we around here, you'll see like a restaurant, and typically in the back is Latino, Hispanic people, right, running the back or whatever. Sometimes the servers are all Mexican or some type of Latin descent, right? Culture shock. Kathleen and I went to Park City, Utah last week. Russian. Everyone was Russian.
Interesting.
Yeah. The servers, the people working, people on the streets, other than locals, they were like Russian.
Huh.
I wanted to ask them. I never got a chance to. We went to the hotel. Russian.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting.
Unfortunately, and that's something that I know a little bit.
Okay.
Anyone can actually fly into any Central American country and come up. Anyone.
Okay.
It's not just Mexicans crossing the border.
Yeah.
It's a
Oh, the
lot.
majority.
Mostly or not. Yeah.
There's a lot of Brazilians, Nicaraguans, Costa Ricans, Russians,
Okay.
Chinese.
Yep.
So I was there was a caravan coming through Esteli one day, and they stopped, and I see them kind of speaking kind of French dialects. And where are these guys from? Well, they're from Haiti. So, Haiti's
Yeah.
an island, like Dominican,
Yep.
Caribbean. So how come they went south? Well, because now they can go through land and.
Yep.
So
Yep, they all got sent up to Ohio.
Yeah, the border issue.
That's,
Well, you think
for
about-
real. There is a town
If
in
you think about
Ohio.
the Chinese
Yeah.
and some of those that are coming across, at some point they could afford a plane ticket.
No.
They flew somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know anyone to fly to China. So yeah, somebody got them here.
Somebody
Right.
got
Yeah, but
there's
and most are willing to risk it all and leave it, right? But I think let's think about the positive, right? We all speak about this is, and it's always been this way, right? It's always been this way. Our country is falling. Our country is this. Our country's going to shit.
Here.
But here's the reality. In the last 3.5 years, 7 million people wanted into the country, whether it was legal or not. We still have a pretty goddamn good country.
oh yeah.
Right? How many people do you know
That are
left our
risked it
country? How many people just risked it all to go to fucking Canada? Right? I don't know anyone that's left. I don't know anyone that's left the country, right? We're still in a beautiful country,
Yeah, you do.
right?
You know one. Gabe.
Gabe's in Greece right now. I don't know where he's at.
He was in Italy before that.
Yeah,
And
well, he's
Mexico
still
before
making
that.
US dollars, so he's living the life.
Yeah.
Listen, I love my country here, but I will probably retire in Italy or Azure.
Look,
I
I
love it.
I've told all these guys, if I go up missing, you can find me in Lugano, Switzerland.
Lugano, Switzerland.
That's where I'll be. Just go around, you'll find me somewhere. I'll be in Lugano. But it's we have a beautiful country with rich culture. We're going through a difficult time. Some things will get better, some things will get worse. Let's just keep kicking ass and smoking cigars and enjoying each other's company.
That's it.
All right, bro.
That's it.
Is it like that?
Big
All
three.
Ooh,
We haven't done it for a long
hit it.
time.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe
I don't know what it is either.
I think this is a judgment zone, so you have to allow us to not only throw the question out, which you'll ponder, but you'll also we get to judge you based on just your demeanor, that you've said, and the lack of tequila that you've had. Notice that these guys are much better.
We're winning.
At tequila. So there's three questions. The first one, Adrian is always an expert at the different names of this.
I think he's a new believer, so he needs.
I'm sure he is. He's spending all of his time on YouTube now.
Yeah.
And he's probably had some walk through his property.
We're going to ask you questions. We're going to answer them for you at the beginning, and then you clarify. The answers are 1 to 10. 1 is no, 10 is yes, 0 is Adrian.
And 5 doesn't count. You can't be a 5.
Yeah.
No, Lucha's not going to be. He's not a 5 guy. He's not a 5 guy.
He's a 1 or a 10.
No, you're not a 5 guy. All right. Hit us.
No, this is
Yeah.
Rob's first time to actually hear the big three.
Oh, nice.
And
Ooh,
so,
yeah. I want to hear his feedback for sure.
I'm real curious. All right, what do you think?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Did we ask you the big three?
I don't think you have.
I don't know if we busted them out at that point.
We probably were just too much in the cigar talk that we
I
didn't
think
get to
so.
it. Yeah.
We're a nerd now.
All right, big three. Hit them
Yeah.
with number 1.
So this first question, this particular thing goes by different names depending on what part of the country you live in. Some people call him Yeti. Some call him Sasquatch. We like to call him Bigfoot. On a scale of 1 to 10, without answering first, because we're going to judge you, where do you stand on believing if he exists or it exists?
Watch this.
Yeah.
All right. So where do you think Luciano is?
He 10. Well,
What's the number? What do you think?
okay.
He puts him at a 10 guy.
Wow.
And here's what you did different.
10 guy.
Usually what happens is, like, see how Stanko's just looking at Luciano? Usually someone looks at him in the eyes to see what kind of person he looks
Yeah.
like.
He's looking to see
No,
what
he's
his
just-
poker hand is.
No, you just
He
listen.
got a straight. He got
What
a
do
flush.
you think, Adrian?
Luciano's very level-headed, and I would say he's probably hovering around a 1.
Wow.
I'm with you. I think he's
Yeah.
he's maybe a 2 to be gracious.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the majority of the time that he spent in the United States is in Florida. And
The stink ape.
yeah, the stink ape is down there, but I'm gonna say he's a 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, you guys are fun.
Hold it. What did you just say?
I'm Dan. I believe. I mean, whatever people are seeing it, I believe.
Holy shit. Hang on. Give this guy a cigar.
I'll tell you what.
Give
I could say the same thing as aliens.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's good.
Man, so it's logic. I mean,
Wow.
logic, right? So of course there's a lot of myths and stuff, but I've met people that saw different creatures, but maybe they don't know what they are, and they got. So my 10, I need to frame it though. It's not that I believe in one kind of creature
Okay.
that everybody calls a name, and I think that people have different experiences of seeing something that got scared, and then they start kind of telling stories. And was that real? I think it was, because I know some good people that.
That's all 3 right there.
That's all 3. We've got it. All right.
All
Well,
right,
we're done here.
It really is.
Well, we got to ask him just
10, 10, 10.
so we can see what what Rob's opinion.
I
and Jim's
didn't think that was going to be his answer. On Bigfoot.
Look, I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to throw it out there. It's a two-parter, so there's going to be two different scores on this particular one. But one is, and I always state this in all the previous bad words. Do you believe in aliens? That aliens exist? They're here on our planet, or they have been here, and that includes redheaded women, because all redheaded women are aliens. So that's part one. Are they here? Have they been here? Who created the pyramids? The whole thing. Then number two is there life in the universe?
That should have been number one.
Why are you fucking with me?
I'm just saying.
That's how I say it.
If he says
I'll
it's
tell you how you say it. So what do you guys?
Oh, fuck. That's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy.
10.
Walk through it. Where are you?
I'm 10.
Yeah.
10.
All right.
Both of them. Or do you think they're here?
Think about it, bro. We're talking about like the most intrinsic concepts of mathematics that the Egyptians had access to. I don't know how many thousands of years ago. And it's.
Are you listening to this, Adrian?
I am.
Dude, it's like, man, it's. I mean, at the same time, well, so you asked two questions in one, right? So I think that knowledge definitely existed, right? So if it came from aliens, I don't know. So it's neither 1 or 10. If there is life beyond this planet, 100%.
What do you think, Adrian? Are you still 0?
No, it's
Ah,
yes until I witness it.
Right?
Exactly. That's so. All three questions are until I see it.
Yeah.
Bigfoot is a 0. Aliens are a 0, and the next question will be a 0 as well.
so
I can wait.
that's also a two-parter.
Real quick on the tollway this morning, I'm driving in, and I see this license plate REDHEAD. I didn't get a chance to take a picture of her or whoever was driving.
It's her. Yeah.
And I was like,
Alien.
Yeah.
You saw UFO today.
It would have been better if it was in a Cybertruck.
Yeah.
It was just a Hyundai or something.
Hyundai. Elantra.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that bitch is crazy. You gotta say it.
That's right.
All right. So the third and final two-parter. One, I'm pretty confident I know where he's at with at least one of these. Spirits, do they exist? This is a
Not these.
metaphysical spirit. Yeah, not something we're drinking right now. It's a metaphysical spirit that animates our physical body. And two, which might be, I'm not sure, are ghosts, physical apparitions of that spirit. So moving things down, think poltergeist, think all those things.
And by the way, if you have a ghost story, we need to hear that.
We have heard
Where
some.
you guys at? I know where you guys are. Part 10.
What do you
Okay,
think?
where you at?
Yeah. I mean, given the other answers, 9.
I'm going to say hard 10 on both, and I think he's got a ghost story.
I think he's got a story. I want to hear the story.
I definitely believe, I would say for the first question, 10. For the second question, 8.
Okay.
Okay.
So
That means no ghost story.
I do have something I can explain. So I tend to justify by other reasons, but it's a possibility that it was something spiritual. So I believe in the connection with God. Therefore, I do believe in spirit. I believe that God can do whatever He wants. So therefore, I believe in the possibility of things being manifested to you, one way or the other. I believe in evil. So I believe that some of the spirits can be evil. But I think that the majority of events and things that happen are within human imagination. There's a current of theology that defines maybe this thought as they call open theology, which is like, it's not that God is behind everything. God might be not even intelligent. I don't agree with it, but that's the current that thinks that way. So, which means not necessarily there's someone manipulating our wheels, and kind of really trying to make you go to certain directions. Because we always, I dislike that thing about us trying to not assume our responsibility for things. Like if it's something good, God gave me. If it's something bad, was the devil. So we don't play any part, right? So we always blaming one or blaming the other.
Yeah.
So giving credit to one or blaming the other. So I don't believe in that. I believe that we are responsible for actions, and whatever we do, there are consequences for, and some of the things that we do have some kind of effects for life. And I think that some things that we consider spiritual actually are just consequences of things that we are doing, you know? So yeah, I think, I would actually give a 5 for the second, but since you're not accepting 5, I'm going to give an 8. Because
That's a big jump.
I think it's like it could be one way or the other. There's not on the second one. I mean, I have experienced myself things that not necessarily ghosts, but like spiritual things that look at the story of Maria Lucia. So I don't have, to this day, I don't know how to explain.
Right.
So how my daughter got this vision of a person she never seen before, and then she do this drawing that's exactly the picture of her grandmother. So was the
That you
spirit,
saw many years later.
was the spirit of my grandmother that came and appeared to her? Was God who kind of gave her that dream? What was it? I don't know. I have no clue. It's a mystery. But I believe that happened. So that's a spiritual experience. No doubt.
Luciano the believer.
That's it. The next
Yes, I
cigar.
am.
Yeah.
The believer.
That's not a bad idea. 10.
Yeah.
Luciano, thank you for being here. Adrian, good to see your ass again.
Good to be back.
Good to
Thank
see
you.
bro.
Yes, sir.
Miss
Thank
you,
you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
For real.
The Bad
Times
Words
two.
is back. Is it back?
It's back right now.
We just
right now.
inaugurated
Enjoy
a
it.
new season.
That's,
That's
it.
it. Season 2 kicks off.
Season 2.
Stay tuned. We love you. Peace.
Later, guys.
See ya.
Take care. And now I'm going to tell you offline